Welcome everybody to another episode of the CD Sport Podcast with me, Kerry Davis. Joining us today is multiple-time bikini champion, Emily Olivia. How are we, Em?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Thank you for coming on and giving up your time to talk to me.
Oh, it's all right. Well, we're in lockdown as well now. All we've got is time, isn't it?
I know, but I've seen on your Instagram you're a busy gal. You're bloody doing your online coaching and teaching other people like different. You're teaching a lot of poses and stuff online, at the minute.
Yeah. So like a lot, obviously when it comes to bodybuilding, we're up on a stage and it's not just all about like flexing your biceps and whatnot. There's a lot of there's a lot more to it than just like showing off your physique, and there's a way to kind of do it. So I coach people and I teach people how to present their physiques, bikini competitors, rather than anyone else, because I'm obviously not a actual big bodybuilder or a figure athlete. So I just teach the bikini girls how to really have a nice stage presence, how to show off the physique to the best of their ability, and to just really present themselves well, because on stage it's all about kind of capturing the audience and the judges.
Yeah, awesome. Because you got obviously you got bikini, is it? Figure, physique. So bikini, figure, physique, and then you got the bodybuilding, which is the big girls. But when I was looking online, obviously you compete in the bikini. The bikini and which one was it? Figure or physique? I don't know, but it's not much in there, is it? Or is it just me?
The difference?
Yeah, like the body composition wise.
Yeah. So like when it comes to women's categories in bodybuilding, we've got bikini, and then you kind of have that split up into short, tall, junior, masters, so they're like age categories. And then from bikini up, depending on the federation, you can have bikini trained, so that's in PCA, which is one type of federation, which is kind of more muscular than bikini, but not quite figure, which is even more muscular. And then you also have bikini wellness, which is an IFBB and MPC, so that's bigger quads and leg muscle. Right. And then you go up into figure, so it can all be a little bit overwhelming and confusing. So you've got figure toned, which is a lot more mass than bikini, but not quite as lean as a bikini, but still quite lean.
Yeah.
Have figure figure athletic first, which is more mass than bikini, but very, very lean. And then figure trained, which is a lot more mass and then even more lean. So it jumps from like one to another quite significantly. There's no kind of in between.
Yeah, right. So, and you've only competed at the one bikini, have you? Or have you gone a bit both?
Yeah. So I've done bikini in a few federations, but each federation kind of looks at bikini differently. So some like a more muscular look for their bikini athletes, some like a softer look where they're not as lean or maybe don't have as much mass. So that's kind of why it's good to do like a few federations when you're first you're first competing, so you can find where your physique really fits.
Yeah.
Because federations are always looking for something different, and bikini is quite hard to nail in terms of getting everything that they're looking for
to get to that mark. Yeah. So what got you into it then? Like, when did you start thinking, right, I'm gonna have a go at this and start competing and stuff?
Yeah. So it sounds really ridiculous. So in 2018, just before my 21st birthday, I literally bleached like almost my entire head of hair off.
What?
I know that I left bleach stayed on it too long and it snapped off, and I literally had like a massive breakdown about it. Right. And I know, how does it tie in? I don't even, but this is where it began. And I remember I was like ecstatic, like, crying my eyes out. And I remember thinking, God, I need to get a life if the only thing I'm worried about is my hair. Like that's literally what I thought. So I started doing like loads of different things that I'd always wanted to do that I'd never done before, because I was like, I do remember thinking like, God, if the only thing you care about in your life is your hair, which I know is a big thing for a lot of girls, but I really wanted to just like do something with my life. And then I started going to pole fitness, and my pole instructor was doing a comp, and she was like, she was on prep, and I'd never heard of this before. Like, I'd never heard of competing really. I never thought it was something that somebody my sort of size in terms of muscularity could do. And I was like, oh, I'll come and watch her. And I went and I watched her, and I thought, oh, I can do this. I can do this. I've got to do this.
Yeah.
And I was just in awe of her and all the other girls that competed. And it was just crazy because I'd never ever seen anyone do something like that before. So I went to Australia for a month, again leading on from the hair thing, because I had a breakdown about my hair. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go to Australia too. Came back from Australia, got onto prep for my first show. I prepped for 9 weeks. Didn't register until literally like the last 2 weeks because I wasn't sure I'd be able to do it. And I went in and I won my category. So it was amazing.
Won your first ever show. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was just like, I will never get over the feeling of like belonging and knowing that that's where I was meant to be, because like for a while before then I was really depressed and like really struggling with feeling like I fit in to this kind of world.
Yeah.
Which sounds really sad, but I just didn't feel like I felt like I belonged anywhere. And then I started competing, and it was like I just knew this is where I was meant to be. And obviously it's been like 3 years now, and 3 years actually, and it's just completely the place that I know I belong.
So 3 years, and I've seen your Instagram, like I said, and you've won loads. Like you got a medal around you every bloody bikini competition you've done. So it's
I've
really
got a
impressive.
sword as well now. That's
I
like my
saw that.
I know, I'm in the
what's
corner actually, I'm looking at it.
What's the sword about? Just that's like the trophy, was it?
Yeah, so I'd never won an overall before, and I was actually going to pull out of this show that I won the overall at, and it was a natural competition, so it was tested.
Yeah.
So everybody's obviously natural competitors, and I remember like I'd just done another show the week before, and I was really contemplating pulling out of this show because I just thought, oh, I can't do it. I said, there's too much competition, I'm not feeling it, like I don't look good, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But my coach was persistent, like, oh, well, you need to do it, you've registered now, you may as well just do it. And I did it, and I won my class, and then I won the overall. And honestly, I still can't actually believe that happened, but it was just like the best moment of my life, because it was my first ever overall, and it was in a federation I'd never competed with before, which was shocking. And I won a sword, so that was, the bonus on top of it all.
That's brilliant. Can you imagine like jumping in, I don't know if you had a taxi to the venue, but just carrying a sword to the taxi or whatever.
Yeah, I went to Nando's after, and I was like, oh, I want to take my sword, and my coach was like, I don't think they'll let you in there with that because they might consider it a weapon. I was like, yeah. I'll leave it at the hotel room then.
Yeah, I would say it's a bloody big sword as well. I've seen
it is.
Maybe
how many people in the UK own a sword?
I wouldn't know. I don't know anyone, to be honest. I don't know anyone. Maybe I'll use that as your photo, and I put you up, you and your sword, so people know what you're talking about. So, so you were saying when you were your first comp, so 9 weeks to prep, and then what did you say? And 2 weeks, are you going to pull out 2 weeks before you?
No, so I didn't register for the show till 2 weeks before.
Right. So
because I did the diet for like 7 weeks, I think that is 7 weeks, before I was sure that I thought I could do it. And in the last 2 weeks I was like, oh, okay, you've gotten this far, I think you can do the last 2 weeks.
You can push through. So is that about average then? So when you've got a competition lined up, is it about 9 to 12 weeks? That's when you start,
So I'd say 9 weeks is a really short prep, I would say. Yeah. I'd say the average is about 12 to 16. I think men tend to be able to prep a little bit shorter, just because obviously men carry a little less body fat in comparison to women. We've got a little bit more stubborn fat to lose, especially like in the abdomen like region. So 16 to 12 weeks is better, and the longer you prep for as well, the more muscle mass you're going to hold on to. If you prep quite quickly, you do tend to lose a little bit more mass because it's so intense.
Yeah, right. So what is the routine then? Is it like, what's your diet like? Like, you counting calories? What are you doing?
Oh,
Like
the
everything,
diet.
everything, is it?
Oh, the diet is on an entire other thing. Like, it's horrific. Like, to be
Yeah,
fair, the
yeah.
first few weeks that you prep on your diet is it's not bad. It's just clean food all the time, healthy. You usually eat the same. Well, I tend to eat on my prep. I tend to eat the same food
Mm,
every day for like 4 weeks or so, just in a calorie deficit. So I'm dropping the weight. Protein is always very, very high in order to maintain all my muscle mass
yeah,
whilst continuing to cut. And then usually for me, I tend to carb cycle for the last few weeks of my prep because my body gets quite stubborn with dropping weight. So if you carb cycle, it kind of um helps shock your body into just losing that a little bit more. But it's not like a normal
no,
diet. Like, I think when you get to that level of lean, a lot of people who maybe aren't in the bodybuilding world really admire how it looks, and a lot of the time they ask, oh, what do you eat, what do you eat to look like that? And as soon as I say, oh, I have beef mince for breakfast, they're like, oh, okay, maybe not. And I'm like, nah, it's not nice.
yeah, that's the most important, isn't it? The protein, keeping, like you said, the keeping the muscle, and well, protein is the main thing to keep feeding your muscles and stuff, isn't it? You know.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
how much grams a day would you eat then, roughly?
I think I was on about 220.
Fuck, that's a lot. That's, yeah,
Yeah, 220 at one point. I'm sure I was.
yeah,
Because I remember telling my friend about it, and he was like, Emily, you're on more protein than me. And
yeah.
I was like, yeah, well, it sounds, but it's because you need
Mm.
you do need a lot to maintain like that muscle. And also because you're eating less carbs and less fats, you need something that's going to keep you full,
Yeah,
because you are starving essentially at some points.
of course you are. Yeah, like you say, you're in a deficit, so your body wants the food, isn't it? And you're
Mm.
training. You know, you're training
Yeah,
hard. So,
yeah.
what is it? Twice a day training job as well, or three
So
times?
it tends to be so last my most recent prep, I had a step goal. So I hit about 15,000 steps a day.
Hmm.
I think that went up to 18,000 at the most. And then training would be, I train I think it was 4 or 5 days a week,
Yeah,
different muscle groups, legs usually 3 times and upper body twice. Um but I'd only train once a day in the gym, and then
yeah.
I would actively be out walking like every hour of the day. So
Just walking. Is
yeah,
obviously you wouldn't do like running and nothing like that. Just walking, is it? For
you can
steps.
do, so some people do like high intensity interval training,
Yeah,
and they'll do like 30-second sprints on a treadmill and then 30 seconds rest. I've
yeah.
done that before as well. But I think it's dependent on the person and their physique and how their body responds, because me and my coach learned from my first prep that high intensity interval training burn too much of my muscle too
Mm,
quickly,
yeah.
whereas low kind of intensity training and just steady state was a lot more beneficial, because I wouldn't burn as much muscle. But some people really, really benefit from HIIT on their preps, whereas I don't. It's so important that you work with a coach kind of like long term, so they get to know what works best for your body.
Yeah, yeah. Like you say, everyone's different, and they,
Yeah,
everybody's
exactly.
body reacts different to different things. So, no, that's
Mhm.
good. And what else? Oh, how long roughly are you in the gym for? Is it about 2 hours? Yeah.
um oh god, I think probably on a leg day you can guarantee I will be there for about 2 hours crying
Solid shift, that
between
is. Yeah.
sets. um but usually upper body doesn't tend to take that long. But
Mm,
I think especially as you get nearer and nearer your show day and your energy levels dip even lower, you are literally in the gym trying to kind of like scrape energy from anywhere to get through your training program. So
mm.
it does, like for me anyway, I tend to end up taking longer, whilst I just can't muster up the energy to do it.
Yeah.
but you just have to power through. It's so hard. God, when I talk about it, I don't know why I do it.
No, it's one of the toughest sports out there, you know, like mentally and, well, even
Oh
physically.
God,
Just,
yeah.
you know, you're sacrificing so much. Like, you know, you could be out with the girls having a few drinks, but you got a comp coming up, so you can't, can you? And,
Yeah,
you know, if you're playing,
exactly.
you know, as a male, I used to play rugby and stuff. You play your rugby and then you're on the piss Saturday night, and you know?
Yeah,
But like,
literally.
a sport like what bodybuilding, it's so much sacrifice and yeah, you put so much into it, isn't it?
Yeah,
What
definitely.
what how much of a deficit you in then when you're,
I would
you know,
say, um, so my kind of no, the normal amount of calories I burn in a day would probably be around 2,400, two
yeah,
thousand two hundred. And my calories usually, the first few weeks of prep are about 1,800.
yeah,
And then when I carb cycle, I'll have 3 days at 1,300, 2 days at 1,500, and 2 days at 1,600, 700, I think, roughly. So they do drop quite low, but not too badly.
yeah.
I know some people who are on like less than 1,000 calories in prep, and I think, oh my God, I would die.
That's insane. Yeah, that is
I know.
insane.
I just I couldn't function. I honestly don't think I could function if I was on any less than what I do go on.
No, yeah. Well, obviously I'm a male. I use that. Do you use My Fitness Pal? Is that what you use?
I've used it before, but I don't. I just can't be bothered logging
Oh,
anything.
yeah. No, but obviously I'm a male and I'm on like 2,500 now, and
Hmm.
yeah, that's fucking hard for me, you know.
Yeah, literally,
But,
it's so hard. It's probably like your equivalent to being on like 1,500.
yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. It's worked wonders. I'm 6'1". I used to be around 108 kilos, and now I'm
Hmm.
down to I'm 90 kilos now. Just from,
Oh, well
yeah,
done.
just from counting my
Amazing.
calories, and I've always trained, done weights and run or whatever. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, diet is the thing, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
that is
But the
everything.
thing is, like when you're doing lifestyle dieting,
Mm.
you literally can eat whatever you want as long as you like count your calories. You
Yeah,
sound. I think some people overcomplicate it and think you need to do, you know, all sorts of things to drop weight. But it's like MyFitnessPal is so useful because you just log everything you're eating, and as
exactly.
long as you're logging it correctly, you're still eating whatever you want and dropping weight.
Yeah, 100%. And like I was asking your protein levels. I think mine's about only 200 now.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I look at. I always try and hit 200. But yeah, I don't care about the fat. Well, yeah,
No.
fat is quite important, but the rest I don't care about. As long as I'm in my
Yeah.
deficit, I'm a happy man, you
Happy.
know.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
talk us about you know, the day of comp. Talk us what happens then. So you get, yeah,
Okay.
tell us all about it.
Okay, so I'll think I'll start with the tanning experience, which is
All right.
always an interesting one. So after you've done your peak week, so as you go up to show day, you do peak week, which is usually slowly carbing up towards the weekend. So you look fuller in terms of like your muscularity and whatnot. On stage, you look better. And the night before the show, you will go and get tanned. So that's the first thing that you will do. And basically it's just you and a load of other strangers that you don't know, absolutely butt naked in some tents getting sprayed
Is it?
with tan, and that's it. I In the last 3 years I've seen more naked women than I ever thought I would ever see in my entire life. But the more you kind of
Mm.
get used to it, like when you're the first time you're in that tanning booth, first ever time, it's a really weird experience. When you've done it about 20 times and all the other girls in there have done it about 20 times, you're all pretty sound. You wouldn't even know each other was naked because you're
Yeah.
just used to it by then.
Yeah,
So
right. Yeah. That's funny. I didn't know it worked
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
yeah, literally. I don't think anyone actually ever really talks about the talent
Hmm.
experience. So if you're a first time, or if somebody is listening to this thinking about competing, yeah, bear in mind when you tan for the first time, you're gonna see a lot of naked people.
Yeah, right. Same for men, is it? Cock and balls out and
Oh, I think the men have to wear socks.
all right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. I never knew that. I thought like I thought you'd like go in a cubicle and do it yourself, or someone's doing it
No,
for you. But
yeah,
oh, it's
literally
interesting.
some strangers. To be fair, as I said before, the more you do it, the more you kind of get to know the tanning teams as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You just have strangers like tanning you, you know, everywhere, and I mean everywhere. So that's the first experience of your show day. Then obviously, like, you have to sleep, go to bed, let the tan develop and whatnot. The next day, go back again, so you get to relive the whole experience again and get tanned again. So that's obviously why people are so like dark on tan day, because we get tanned like a lot. When you're on the stage, the lights obviously because they're so bright, they can really kind of drown you out, so you've got to be really dark so the definition's captured nicely on stage.
Yeah.
So then after you've had your tan, obviously as bikini girls we go and have our makeup done, have our hair done, and then honestly you just need to avoid moving as much as you can before you go on stage, because you've got to eat your meals consistently throughout the day, but have to be really careful on water intake because you don't want to bloat or end up watery. Can't be on your feet too much because you don't want to ruin any condition in your legs, because obviously the more you walk on them, the more the blood's going to get to them, the more the water's going to get to them again, so
Oh
you
shit.
can lose
Yeah.
like definition in your legs. So you have to be careful about that too. And then once it's time to go on stage, I usually get a Krispy Kreme donut just like an hour before to pump me up, and then it's all resistance bands to really get some nice shape in the muscle and like kind of get a pump, so the muscles even more defined, and even more you just got that little bit more mass in it, and then it's time to get on stage and not fall over.
I had it all wrong, and I thought you like full on starve yourself and everything.
No, oh
No.
no, do
Yeah.
not starve yourself on show day.
No.
Show day, honestly, I think most of us in the end are just excited to have Haribos before we go on stage because of
Yeah.
all the sugar. But yeah, so usually throughout the day I get like oats in the morning, and then I'll get like turkey and turkey mince and like white potato, some rice cakes and jam. But again, you have to be really careful about certain times you're eating them. So usually I eat every 2 hours,
Yeah.
and then ensure that the body's nice and fueled up and you're ready to go.
Yeah, right. That's interesting. That's something doing something, didn't you? Yeah. So
Yeah.
you know the day you're on stage, like
Hmm.
you said, you do your tanning again, and then your makeup and your hair.
Hmm.
How many say like hours after you see your makeup are you expected to be on stage roughly, or it all depends?
It all completely depends
Yeah.
on when your category's due on and when your makeup artist fits you in as well.
Yeah.
So I know some girls who've had their makeup done as early as 4 a.m. and then not been on stage until like 3 p.m.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So sometimes it is like really waiting around.
Hmm.
I think especially last year, with COVID and everything, the show days were really, really long, and all the bikini categories were at the end of the day. So I was having everything done at like 11 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
and wait until like 7 p.m. to get on stage. And that was really hard because it was like freaking out that I was going to lose definition in my legs and condition and whatnot, because you by that time by the time you get to that kind of point in prep, your body is so unbelievably fragile. I couldn't even drink like water with squash in it because the sweetness from the squash would bloat me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
That's insane. Yeah.
crazy. It is crazy.
So when you're on stage and you're doing your poses and stuff, like
Mhm.
how long you on the for on the stage?
Um, I'd say so when you get on stage, you first you kind of do like an eye walk, which is like a little catwalk of you, and you do your posing and whatnot, and that's usually about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then when you do your comparisons next to the girls, that's probably another minute, 2 minutes just for comparisons. And then obviously, if there's a lot of other girls, they're being compared to. So then you've got to hold poses whilst you wait for
Mm.
them to be looked at. So
Right.
I'd say in total, you're probably on stage for roughly 5 to 10 minutes.
Well, that could feel like a
Like that.
bloody. That could feel a long time when you're like you say,
Oh,
keeping bloody positions and all that, and keeping
yeah.
poses. So, and the judges obviously they checking the makeup, they check everything, do they? Body definition, obviously.
Yeah. So it's kind of dependent on the federation.
Yeah.
So if you do a fitness model federation like Pure Elite or Next Fitness Model,
Mm.
they are kind of looking for the overall package. So they want you to have good hair, good makeup, your posing has to be bang on, your physique's got to look good too. They kind of mark you on everything.
Yeah.
But bodybuilding, so like PCA, for example, they are a lot more focused on the physique.
Mm.
They're not overly, they're not going to mark you down if your bikini isn't a certain kind. And they're not going to mark you down if your hair isn't perfect or your makeup isn't perfect. They're more bothered on what the physique looks like.
Right.
But that's the difference kind of between bodybuilding and fitness modeling. Fitness modeling is a lot more about the whole presentation of the person and
Yeah.
the physique, whereas bodybuilding's like physique and that's your main sort of goal.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
obviously you've done the both, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I just love I love them all. They're
Love
all
them all.
fun.
Yeah.
Like it's just such a variation of things to do, and like there's so many different posing and like the way you can showcase who you are and your physique and your personality, and I love that. But I definitely do sway more towards the bodybuilding side
Yeah.
because I like to kind of be solely judged on my physique,
Yeah.
because you know I would hate to like miss out on like a placing because someone's hair was better than mine.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. The hairs, you can do your hair, but the body you've worked weeks for, haven't you?
Exactly,
So
exactly. Yeah. So I would much rather be judged on my physique and the thing that I feel truly matters in the sport.
yeah, 100%. I agree with that. And obviously, if you're doing the where they checking your hair and the bikini, do you pick the
Mhm.
bikini yourself, or does your
Yes,
or you pick all
yes.
that? Yeah.
Oh, that's the best part of the whole
Is
thing, the
it?
bikini. So like if you were doing a fitness model federation, you get a lot more kind of choice and like expression in your person, that in your bikini even,
Yeah.
because you get to really put your personality into it. You get to have any color, every color, like diamantes, flowers, jewels, whatever you want, and they can be over the top and they can look incredible.
Mm.
Whereas in bodybuilding, they prefer it to be a little plain. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. You can still have beautiful colors, you can have ombre colors, you can have anything, but it just has to be a little less in your face as a
Yeah.
fitness model bikini. But they are, oh my god, they're expensive.
Wow, how much you talking?
Oh
Can't
well, I would
can't say.
say if you, so most girls go for like bespoke design, so unique one off to them. They get their own custom design, and they're usually looking at starting around £300.
Bloody hell! Just for
Yeah,
the top and bottoms.
yeah, and I know people who've paid up to and over a grand before for a
What?
bikini. Yeah, it's crazy.
What's the most you've paid? Can't
To
say.
be fair, I'm actually quite good.
Are
So
you?
when I first started competing, all of my bikinis were secondhand. So I always bought secondhand ones
Yeah.
because I didn't want to spend a lot of money. And at the time I was a student, so I didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I spent roughly 150
Mm.
on like my bikinis. And then the last 2 years I've been sponsored. So
Awesome. Yeah.
I had a sponsor last year, so she provided me with all my bikinis, and I have another sponsor this year who is doing my bikinis this year again. So luckily that saves quite a bit of money, and you also get to represent someone's work, which is the most important thing, because you're getting to showcase their work on stage, and then that's obviously going to help them get more custom as well.
Of course, yeah. And you
Mhm.
winning all the time as well. It's only doing better for
Oh,
them, isn't
don't
it?
jinx me. It makes me nervous.
Oh, sorry.
Whenever people
Touch
say stuff
wood.
like that, I'm like, oh my God, don't put pressure on me.
No, talking of, you said you got a sponsor this year. What is the plan this year? If just take COVID, COVID's gone. What's the
Mhm.
goal? What's the plan?
So for this year, I'm thinking of sticking to the Two Bros Federation, which is the one I won the sword at last year.
Awesome.
They're doing another natural show, so I'd like to do that. So they do a regional and then they're doing a finals, and in the final show you can win an IFBB Pro card. Have you ever heard of the IFBB?
IF, yeah, I have, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
big
So
big
like
one, yeah,
the big
yeah.
one, yeah,
Mm.
exactly. And that's exactly why I'd like to go for the pro card, because it is the big federation, and it's something I'd really like to excel in. But at the same time, the standard is crazy high, so I am really, really nervous. But I'm gonna go for the regional. I'm gonna see how I do out in the regional, and if I do well, I'll go on to the finals and see if I can get the pro card. And if not, then I will take another year or two out to grow, to work, and to try again in the
That's,
future.
that's awesome. And yeah, you're still young. How old are you? Do you say 24?
24.
24. Is it like how old, like what's the age roughly people compete at?
You know what?
Is it
There
all
is
sorts?
literally no kind of specific age.
Yeah.
I know I couldn't pinpoint where it's the
Mm.
most popular, because I know girls from, like, God, stepping on stage at 16, 17, all the way up to people who are in their 50s.
Bloody hell.
So
Yeah.
there is no age limit, and it's crazy because you just can't really define where the best sits, because there are literally amazing people in every single age range.
Yeah, right. No, that's awesome. No,
Mm,
that's really good. Well, that's what I wanted to ask you too, going back to when you compete.
mm.
Once the comp is done, what's the first well, you did mention Nando's, but what do you normally do with yourself after for a couple of weeks?
So if once I've done my last show,
Yeah.
I just eat everything and anything. I So usually throughout prep, I
Yeah.
kind of like collect things that I see in supermarkets that I want to eat, or
Oh, do
I
you?
order stuff online. Like there's some really good like custom like bakery cookie and whatever companies. So I order a lot of stuff off them, put them in the freezer, and then when show day comes, it all comes out the freezer, and I eat it all within about 24 hours. And by then I've lost all of my definition,
And it's
and
gone.
you wouldn't have even known I was lean at one point.
Yeah, you'd blow up quite quick, wouldn't you? Like like you say, all the water has gone through your
Mhm.
body as well. So I can
Yeah,
imagine you'd swell up quite quick. It's like you
yeah.
see, I'm a big fan of MMA and stuff, and
Oh yeah,
you see like the fighters, like they weigh in before a fight, and then time that they fight, they can be 8 to 10 kilos heavier just in a
it's
day,
mad, isn't it?
just from the water going from their body. But
Yeah, yeah.
no, it's insane. And I was going to say, you got some good willpower, buying them all in advance as well.
You know what? I'm not even gonna lie. I think the one thing that really gets me through prep sometimes, is literally looking at food on Instagram.
Is it?
Like, I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
On In those last few weeks of prep, my Instagram is just full of food porn, and that's all I look at all the time. Like watching people like eating different foods and like
Yeah.
putting cookies in microwaves and like dipping spoons in them, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't. And literally people say, they're like, Emily, why are you torturing yourself?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, no, it's not torture, it's helping me remember what's at the end of this journey.
Oh, so that's how you think, right? In 4 weeks, 3 weeks, this is me. I can eat this and that.
Yeah, yeah, literally. I think
Mm.
by especially last year, by the time I got to my last two comps,
Mm.
I remember being like, I don't even care about the show anymore. I just want a cookie. That's all I cared about.
That sugar craving, man. It's just when it gets you, you just
Oh,
gotta
it's
have.
hard. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so hard.
it's bad. Yeah, but
Mm.
listen, Em, I can see the time getting. It's really 5 o'clock. It's flown. That's
I know, it goes so quick, doesn't
yeah,
it?
36 minutes, and you were talking before. You've got a online client at 5 o'clock, have you?
Yeah, I've pushed it back to 5:10 because I have the best clients and they're
Oh,
very
brilliant.
understanding,
Yeah.
which is lovely.
Oh, we got you
But
for 5 more minutes then. That's all
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, there
yeah,
we
I'm
are.
here. I'm good.
Oh,
But yeah, yeah.
I want to talk a bit about the posing quickly as well, because
Mhm.
obviously that's a massive part. And like I see, like I said before, you're doing a lot of coaching people online now with the
Yeah.
poses.
Mhm.
Where did you pick that up from? Was that self-taught or did you have a coach?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So when I first started competing, I had a coach,
Mm,
and I learned a lot from her. She was my first ever coach. She helped me a lot with my posing, and then the years after. So my second year competing, I did a few federations, and I taught myself a lot
yeah,
of what I wanted to do in my routines. I studied a lot of the criteria, and I always looked into what the federations were looking for, and I looked at past competitors
yeah,
and what they'd brought. and then taught myself what would suit my physique. And that was really, really helpful to help me learn what I thought looked nice. And increasingly every year as I've competed, I've always gotten really good feedback on my posing, which has helped me to see that I am on the right sort of path with when it comes to posing anyway. And then the most recent year, I had a posing coach up until my first, well, specifically for my PCA show, because I really, really wanted to win that show. It meant a lot to me because it was my last year as a junior and I really wanted to win. So I wanted to ensure my posing was perfected for that, and it was, and I was really, really happy with it. And then my other 3 federations, I taught myself completely. Obviously always picking up stuff from other coaches, always picking up stuff from other people. Like I would never ever credit everything I know to myself, because that's not the case at all. Like in the last 3 years, I've learned so much from other people, but they've helped me come to like find what works best for me and to learn more about posing, which is what I absolutely love. And honestly, I wouldn't be where I am without those people from my past.
Yeah. And so you've just from your journey, you've taken wisdom of everyone and you've made
Literally,
yourself.
exactly, bits and bobs, and then you add it all into the mix and come up with a final
Yeah.
product.
And you're only getting better and growing as well, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, I hope so anyway.
Yeah,
So long
definitely.
as I'm always progressing, I'm happy in one
No.
way and another anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to follow your journey, and you know, anytime you got a comp coming up, like post it on your page, and I'm happy to reshare it on my podcast page. You know,
Oh, thank you.
um,
You'll
yeah,
have to do a podcast with me when I'm deep in prep, so you can really see the other side of me.
oh yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if that's wise, is
Great.
it?
I'm fine when I'm like this,
Yeah,
but as soon as you get me on prep, it's like
yeah.
another person. It's crazy.
It'll be one word answers and
Yeah,
all that type of thing.
literally. Literally, I'll be like, "Are we done now? I've got food to
Yeah,
eat."
that's it. Do you help? I know you do the poses, but do you help people with their diets as well online?
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
do a bit of online coaching too.
yeah,
Primarily, I'm just mostly posing coaching at the moment.
yeah,
But I've got quite a few online clients as well.
awesome.
I do primarily lifestyle dieting.
Yeah,
So I don't prep people for shows, and I wouldn't, because I know I'm not knowledgeable for that, and I know it takes a lot of learning a lot to really prep people for comps.
yeah,
But I'm always really willing to help people who just want a diet to be happier in themselves in their life.
yeah,
And it's so important that those diet plans are like, it's like we talked about earlier with calories and calorie counting, and just you can eat whatever you want so long as you're in a deficit. And that's kind of what I'm trying to educate with my clients, is that they don't have to be in a boring chicken and rice diet to lose weight. They can eat what they want so long as it's in moderation.
yeah. Oh, you're preaching to the preacher. Honest to God,
Yeah,
I've had
that's
the
it.
same. Like I said, I've lost a bit of weight myself, and people's asking me, you know, what are you eating? Are you vegetarian now? Are you
Mm,
bloody eating chicken and rice? Like, no,
yeah.
I'm just counting calories. I have a Magnum every night. You know what I mean? It's just I just make sure it fits in my diet. But
Yeah,
no,
exactly. You are so right. And I wish more people would realize that, because you do not need to fast. You do not need to drink 4 diet replacement meal shakes a day. You do not need a detox tea or a lollipop suppressant bloody
yeah.
whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like
No.
just eat what you want in moderation and you sound.
Yeah, there we are, guys. You've heard it from the bikini champion herself, Emily. You don't need to get a body. Like, if you want your dream body, just eat less calories. That's what it
Yeah,
boils down
there
to.
we
So,
are. That's it.
well, that's awesome, Em. Really good. Enjoyed that. Do you want to, before I let you go though, any shout outs you want to give and where we can find you on social media and stuff?
Yeah, so my social media is Emily Olivia with like, I'm not actually sure if it's 3 A's or 4 A's at the end, but either way,
Yeah,
try them both and I'm sure you'll find me. And I think probably the only person I really want to shout out would be my coach, Claire Crowther, and her Instagram is something like tattooed fitness chick, but it's really bloody long. So if you want to find her, just
yeah,
go through my Instagram.
yeah,
But literally, I do owe most of my kind of success in competing to her, because she's the one that's got me where I need to be. She's the one that's put all the effort into me and helped me along the way. And especially my last prep was probably the most mentally challenging and the hardest, not only with the pandemic, but like a lot of stuff was going on in my life at the time too. I actually left a boyfriend of 5 years
Oh shit, yeah.
right in the middle of prep, so that was difficult too. But she supported me all the way through that. So if any of you guys listening want to compete and need a coach, that's your woman.
There we are. You've heard it there first. Awesome, Em. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel too, guys, the CD Sport Podcast. Find and follow me on Instagram as well, the CD Sport Podcast also. Spread the word, spread the love. Thank you all. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Emily Olivia, everybody. Eeeeew.